Lisa, from a legal standpoint, I'm curious, a lot of people who abuse drugs, they die. And parents don't get charged for negligence when their child dies from drug use. My question for you is, this father is now charged along with his 21-year-old daughter. Legally speaking, what's your stance on this?
We have an ability as a parent to use reasonable force with our children to keep them safe. And so it goes back to what Alexis says, that the intent of the father, right? So the father is here trying to do something with this child. And I think that when we look at that, like I think that the charges won't hold up in that sense, because this father, again, we're driving down the freeway, bound and gagged. Clearly there's no privacy screens. You know, people are calling 911, which they should have done, you know, viewing that. But it also speaks to the fact that we have a problem in our country when we have addiction. And I see people as patients every day that have addiction issues. They can't afford $30,000 or $40,000 a month, and it is $3,000 a month in Mexico.
And that's an important part of the story for people watching. If nobody has ever tried to put someone they love into an addiction treatment facility, you may not be aware of how expensive it is in this country. It is mind-boggling. And a little bit disturbing, quite frankly, how expensive it is in many clinics in this country. Yeah. And so it sounds like, well, why would he be driving to Mexico? Maybe he is just kidnapping her, but that's less than 10% the cost potentially of what you would get in the US. Right. So do you think then, before we move more into, we know he exercised poor judgment. Yeah. Before we take sides here, do you expect the father and 21-year-old daughter to be exonerated, or?
I think legally, there's no prosecutor that's going to go and take this case all the way through. I think it would be probably an embarrassment when the facts come out that they literally were trying to help this child. And as a psychologist, when I weigh in and I look at the fact that, you know, the emotional trauma this is going to cause the family already, and the alienation of a parent, this is the person we're supposed to trust, and he bound and gagged her. I mean, Dr. Ho knows there's going to be years of therapy that they're going to need to deal with already. Putting a legal challenge in front of them, I just can't imagine.
But also, let's get back to what we were talking about earlier. Hey, there may be years of therapy, but this, from the father's perspective, at least she's alive. And I think that it's the one thing.
Let's say she died from her meth use. I mean, would he be responsible for that? I mean, he had to do something. He was at his wit's end.
Terrible judgment. So what? Yeah. So let's talk about this. If everyone in this room is willing to acknowledge that this was terrible judgment and traumatic and quite frankly awful, and I don't even want to get into the element of the 21-year-old sister being there as well. But Alexis, you used as a teenager, right? And can I ask you what drugs you used?
Yeah, I am 8 years sober off of heroin, but I consider myself, I was a trash can for all drugs, okay? I used everything, but primarily opiates, yeah.
So can you talk then about so this was a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old sister. From your own experiences, and we've profiled a lot of addicts on the show, in that moment of addiction, reason does not tend to rule the day. So how should you, as a loved one, how should you handle this if you're trying to get your child to save their life, get them into rehab?
The traditional model of Al-Anon and programs that you see regarding codependency often don't work really well with children, especially when they're under 21 years old. Oftentimes for these kids, letting your kid go and hit bottom means that they die. And that's a very real problem. I would absolutely encourage any parent out there, reach out to a local therapist in your area, find a counselor, call a treatment center. We'll sit on the phone with you. We'll find you resources in your area. We'll get you to meetings. We'll find you a counselor, someone that can help guide you through this process, which is often, you know, it takes professionals.